I forget the guttural name they have for it. But I believe a rough interpretation is dragon water. An acquired taste, perhaps.
My strategy is expressly not to end up in the drink.
I can't live in a title or drink it.
I drink and I know things. That's what I do.
Welcome back to Flagons and Dragons. We're glad you're joining us on this journey through Westeros. Just be aware that we have a bring your own flagon policy around here. I am Sir Jamie the Golden, and I'm with my fellow men of the flagon, the soup deucer, lord of the kitchens, keeper of the flame, and Magnum Mills, master of the mead, lord of taverns. After almost 2 years, it is time to talk about a new episode of Hot D, the season 3 premiere, Salt and Sea, Fire and Blood. How you doing, Soup? Is your flagon full, and are you ready to go?
I am doing well, man. I regretfully have not obtained a flagon yet. I haven't reached that level, apparently. Hopefully by the next episode I will have one to sport on the show, but currently I am without a flagon. I feel bad about that, but it's what I could do. I'm here, man. I mean, maybe the Ravens didn't get the word out in time, but it's not here yet, but it's on the way. So have that. Still trying to figure out how to cook by dragon fire. Maybe by the end of the season I'll be able to figure that one out, but that's a tall ask. Either way, stoked about this episode. It's here finally, so here we go.
But you just got to do the math. So if you can roast a whole lamb by dragon fire in 5 seconds, just start figuring out how heavy the lamb was, and then just start dividing from there. And I think you'll be able to figure it out. I do have my flagon. You cop one for cheap if you don't have one. I got my Billy Butcher inspired dragon shirt here, so I am ready to roll. I have everything but my Wad 100s and my Magnum. Shout out to Dr. Mantis Toboggan. And shout out to y'all for checking out this episode of Flagons and Dragons. We really appreciate it. We are presented by Regular Dudes Watch Stuff. You can find our podcast wherever you get your pods, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the good ones. We are there. Find our videos on YouTube. Find us on social media at Dudes Watch Stuff and on the web at dudeswatchstuff.com. Try to keep it nice and easy to remember, just like the Flaps, FLAPS. Follow, like, and please subscribe. If you had Mr. Fun, please touch Mr. Thumb.
From this point forward, there will be spoilers for all aired episodes of House of the Dragon, as well as the official podcast and any interviews and or teasers. We could also discuss differences between the show and the original text, Fire and Blood, but we'll be avoiding any book spoilers that could ruin upcoming episodes. Consider yourself warned here, and if you don't know, now you know.
This is Salt and Sea, Fire and Blood, Season 3, Episode 1, the 19th overall episode of House of the Dragon. Originally aired June 21st, 2026. Directed by Lonnie Perister. This is the second episode he has directed of Game of Thrones after Season 2, Episode 7, The Red Sowing, and he's also directing the 6th episode of Season 3. Written for television by the showrunner Ryan Condal. He has 6 written by credits on the show, and he has written every season premiere. We have numerous stars here, numerous guest stars, too many to mention, so we'll just move on to the short plot synopsis. Driven by her faith in Alicent, Rhaenyra positions herself to take King's Landing while the Triarchy sails to take on Corlys in the Gullet.
We're going to start out with our overall thoughts on the episode, and then we'll focus on the specifics, a little bit of the devil in the details, if you will. So what did you think about the episode, the season 3 premiere here? Do you think it did a good job of bringing you back into the world of the show and getting you excited for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I did, man. I think this was definitely a good way to, after the gap and everything that we've been waiting for this for a while now, and the way the last season ended, I think they did a good job picking it up and really bringing the heat, and they brought it, man. So real solid first episode, real, just a good way to get you back into it, man. And honestly, this could have been a season finale, and maybe it should have been for last season, but it was a good way to start the season. Definitely gets you right in the vibe of, here we still have 7 more episodes of this, so I can only wait. I'm just waiting to see what's going to happen next, man. Stoked about it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I thought this episode did just a fantastic job of bringing you back into just the precipice of chaos that the show has built so much. We were right on the precipice of just this thing exploding, and I think they did a great job of bringing us back in there, but then also bringing us to the starting point of this explosion. We've been waiting kind of 2 seasons. But one of the other things I thought it did really well was it took you beyond just the immediateness of where Rhaenyra is. It brought you out. You saw Daemon over here. You got out in the sea. You all the various storylines that were happening with different characters that were spread out throughout Westeros. I thought it did a great job of showing that. And so to me, I really liked how they started to kind of bring you back in. They let it boil over a little bit. It was action packed, but they tied in things and brought you in through kind of the whole world of Westeros here, which was really cool.
Yeah, to expand on what y'all said, I think to a certain degree, this episode is probably basically what was originally supposed to be the end of season 2, episodes 9 and 10 jammed into one. We get kind of the classic Game of Thrones thing. Used to be, the 9th episode, the penultimate episode of the season, that was your battle episode. Then the 10th episode, the finale, you'd go check in with everybody. Here, they basically combined those two into one. And I think it works really well. There's a high bar set here. They call it the Battle of the Gullet. It's the biggest naval battle in the history of Westeros. Obviously, you have some major deaths here, so it's something that there was a lot of hype going into. I think they really nailed it, and it was a tough needle to thread in that you've been gone for 2 years, and then you also had A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which is great, but definitely a different show, and I'm sure there's a lot of overlap between the fan bases, but this is certainly not, a 30, 35-minute, like, action comedy, buddy comedy almost. It's far from that, and I think they do a good job here of dropping you in and reestablishing the stakes and being like, oh yeah, this is fire and blood, you know what I mean? It's kind of like the final season of The Boys kept promising, there was going to be just, blood and bone, all of this, like just that the world was going to get blown to bits. And here, I think it's in the title. They have to deliver on it. I think they do for the most part. I also think HBO did a good job. If you didn't have time to rewatch, they went out, they put out a couple of different recaps. They tried really hard to make it as easy as possible to dive back in after 2 years. Soup, did you have any issues diving back in here? I know you weren't able to go through a full rewatch before this aired. Did they do enough here for you so you're able to get back in if you couldn't quite remember exactly what everyone's names are? There are a lot of, Rhaenyra's and Jacaerys, and, there's a lot of similar sounding names.
Without that, just the confusion of the lingo and the naming and everything else, and I mean, there's a lot of characters, but even with all that, it was a comfortable dive back in. It was just a ram it home kind of thing, man, and it was a nice. It was not difficult for me at all to get right back into the Westeros House of the Dragon world right there, man. I felt like this episode did a really good job at that, and didn't have to slow down to like ease your way in. It started pretty harsh, it was a white knuckler, dude, like pretty much the whole time, So to be able to pull that off and be able to, make it comfortable for viewers to get back into the story and everything, I think it was a success in that regard.
Yeah, not a lot of Hootie and the Blowfish here, not a lot of hand holding. Was it easy for you as well, JBG?
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, I give them credit. I mean, I think it opened with, I think it was like 3 or 4 minutes of just pure, like, here were the highlights of the last, season, and basically brought you completely up to speed because it's been, 2 years. I just hope that that's not like, hey, see, we can make it so it's not that big of a deal for people to wait 2 years, because that just sucks. And we as consumers should not have to wait 2 years for a freaking television program. It's bullshit. But outside of that, they did do a good job. The only thing I really struggle with, Mills, and just being honest here, and you guys can call me out in the comments, and you can, oh, Jamie G, you're so dumb. Sure. But I struggle with remembering the dragons' names. That's just really
Same.
That's what's really getting me here.
I know them, but having not read Fire and Blood, I could see how it would be really easy. And honestly, I didn't remember. Like, I forget kind of who is Varamorth, who is Silverwing. You know what I mean? Some of it's easier to remember when they're tied to a specific character, but especially picking up the wild dragons from last season, and then obviously Sheep Stealer. I don't know that they actually ever really said Sheep Stealer on screen back in season 2. I know it was implied. There's a large wild dragon, and we see him. That was kind of one of the final scenes of Rhaena that we got in season 2, but you're never really explicitly told that, and she just kind of calls him that. It's accepted. I believe in Fire and Blood, he was also called the Cannibal, and it's a whole different. It's not Raina that claims him in the books. That is a pretty big difference. We'll get into that a little bit, but I don't think it's really a big deal. Probably the biggest change overall was structurally here. Like I said, this originally was going to be the end of season 2. Jamie G, do you think it would have hit any differently as the finale of season 2, let's say, if both of these episodes encompassed 9 and 10? So would that have maybe changed how you viewed things going into season 3, or it's kind of like, all right, we had to wait for it, but it all worked out in the end?
I think it definitely would have been harder to wait because of how incredible this episode was, and what an end, right? And all these things that happened there. I think it definitely would have impacted it. I would have been a lot more excited, but I would have been a lot more frustrated. And don't get me wrong, I was frustrated waiting 2 years, but I think I would have been even more frustrated. So it probably worked out fine in the end. It was a banger of a first episode here to get you into the season, and I'm really excited about it. But man, it would have been an awesome season finale too.
What do you think? So would this have maybe not necessarily worked better, but it would have maybe left you walking out of season 2 with kind of a better taste in your mouth had this been how it ended, more or less?
Yeah, of course, man. But then how would you, but to start a season like this is also, it's like a double-edged fucking sword there, man. Like it could have been cool either way. Yeah, it would have been a great way to end last season because, now I mean, think about it. Yeah, we wait 2 years after that. But that's kind of what you should do if you're doing a show like this, man. So I think it would have done it a little bit more justice. But you also want him to come out swinging like this too. So if you can pull off both, then you're really fucking winning.
Yeah, I think they basically, they took lemons and made lemonade, right? Ideally, this would have been placed where they originally thought it would, but given that they had to make the change, most likely due to powers beyond their control because of the big merger and everything like that, some corporate whatnot. So I think they gave us the best possible version of it. We are Flagons and Dragons. I think it's pretty safe to say we got plenty of dragon action in this one. Not a lot of flagon action. We do get a fun little drinking scene with Corlys and Alan, but we'll also kind of refer to the Flagons as it's kind of a little bit more of those Night of the Seven Kingdom moments, right? A little bit of kind of hangout where you get to have a little bit of fun, because that's one thing we didn't get a lot of in season 2 of House of the Dragon. It was really not fun, right? It was a little bit of a slog at times. Like they had a lot going on, but there were never just points where you would like laugh out loud. Thrones always had that. Soup, do you think they did enough here to kind of split up the battle a little bit, interject a little bit of fun and humor and that kind of thing into it?
Yeah, you have to. You can't just go beginning to end, just full force, like, I mean, nonstop, carnage and shit. But yeah, I mean, there were some moments, the whatever, the dragon water or whatever the fuck Corlys and then we're in, what's his name? The kid, the fucking,
Alan.
Alan.
yeah, whatever they were drinking. That was a nice moment between the two of them. And it was a bonding situation that you saw progress throughout the remainder of the episode. And there was also the shit with the other three dragon riders, when they're talking about the castle versus the dragon, or you think you're getting a castle because you're whatever. That was a good little breakup in the whole shit too. So there were moments like that were kind of necessary but fit very well.
I totally agree. I thought it was a nice little bit of just comic relief and just a little bit of kind of, he's got a point, right? Like you get a lot more women with a castle than you would with a horse, right? And so I think he was, I thought it was kind of funny, that whole scene there, but also intriguing because of the little bit of the spookiness that was going on there too. So and it kind of kept you like, wait, man, if they go, is this thing going to fall apart? Like if they stay, is it going to tilt in one side or the other? So I thought it was
great
really
when you got 3 fucking dragons with you. I mean,
you can only be scared of the biggest dragon. I think that's kind of how it works. And I knew going into this that they could move some stuff around, but the one constant had to be at the end of this episode, Jason is dragon have to die. Jamie G, did that surprise you? Do you like the way they handled it? And do you think this will be, maybe a little bit more impactful than Luke's death at the end of season 1 was?
It was, I think this will be more impactful because now she's lost both her kids and he forced the issue here. She was feeling kind of like, my own son did this to me. And now she's going to feel all sorts of crazy emotions because he went and died and they lost a dragon. I liked how they did it with the whole, got shot once and was being dragged down with the weight. And then she was able to come in and snip the rope and free it. I thought that was really cool. It's just weird because, like, I don't know, call me a softie or whatever, but it's like, I know the dragons are like the most terrifying, powerful, like nuclear bomb type thing in the world, but like it sucks to see any animal die. It just really does. So I'll just say that.
Everybody basically compared it to like watching a dog die on screen was the
It
common
really
comparison
sucked,
online, and that's how like people were like, "Man, I had to hug my dog after I watched that scene." I do feel that.
Yeah, I did also find a couple of flaws in that. I mean, if I mean, you think the dragon could just burn that fucking rope,
Yeah, it's a rope, not a.
or if you're going
Yeah.
under, man, why didn't he just dive off and cut the fucking rope and let's fly the fuck out of here, Like, so I mean, I think I don't know, I think it didn't. In my mind, it probably didn't need to go down that way. Of course, I wasn't there, so it might have been a little bit more extreme than that. But I feel like it probably in reality wouldn't have happened like that, given that that's a fucking dragon. And got it as a, I mean, I don't know how impactful or how much force the thing they shot out of there was, but I doubt it was enough to like really like drag this dragon down.
No,
And
it's just the fact that they hooked it to an anchor basically, so it was pulling
yeah,
him down. And like the harder he fought, like a little bit like quicksand. That's one place where the book has the advantage in that they were just vague. They were like, "Oh, he got shot," but it was never clear. Like, did it get him in the eye? Did it get him in the wing? And then they made it seem like he got tangled up in a bunch of ships, and then like it's stuck in the water. So it wasn't quite as again, it reminded me of the final season of Thrones here. Like you can't just free ball, like free target a moving dragon like that with that kind of accuracy that they have here.
yeah.
It's a little bit pushing the edge of it, but
The dragon was close. I mean, it was, so it wasn't like it was super far away. They were flying low. I did like kind of the scene they created of the chaos of shit flying all over the place, arrows and things. I'm with Soup though. It felt like the dragon could have just burned the other dragon could have just burned the rope and just moved on from it, right? So it's like that's
And that, honestly, I know that you had said that you thought that but I'm not familiar with the book. So all this is a surprise to me. So I didn't think that he had to die. Looking back in retrospect now with the course of events, I was like, okay, it makes sense to the story. But, in the moment when I was watching it, I was like, yeah, I was hoping that he would just, like, when they first went underwater, I was like, dude, and he got off. I was like, he's going to go down there and cut the fucking rope. Why the fuck didn't he?
there was a little bit of that. I will say I thought the way it was filmed looked incredible because
Oh, yeah.
even as the dragon was down and maybe Jace was going to go back down, he was trying to get his bearings, and then dude out of nowhere he takes the arrow, and then the camera flips and you see the ship shooting at him, and I was like, oh wow, that was a pretty cool. I thought it was shot very well.
Oh, absolutely, but
everything in this episode looked incredible, down to the little details of the dragon just dipping its big toe in the water as it crosses over. Tons of awesome little stuff like that.
Yeah,
it was Sheep Stealer. That was really cool. The scenes of him flying over the water, you could definitely tell they were flexing their muscles a little bit on the budget. And you're right, everything about the Jace death scene was done very, very well, very, very tactfully. It was not really like a huge, sometimes they give you the big musical cue to be like, oh, you need to be sad here. There's really none of that, and kind of the way they shoot it when they shoot him from, just kind of the still shot from underneath and everything. It's really subtle, but you can tell like this dude is dead, definitely. Like he got. There's no denying.
I don't think there's any question there. Yeah. I mean, he took 2 arrows in the neck, dude. You
put it's not a dart, it's an arrow.
Cue the
too much. Yeah.
So it sounds like we all enjoyed the episode, but I think this is a real tough one in determining who actually won. Jamie G, you got Team Black, Rhaenyra and them. You got Team Green, the Hightowers, Aegon and Aemond. Who won the first episode of season 3? Was it Team Black or Team Green?
I think it was Team Green here. Because I think they killed, a dragon, and that was Rhaenyra's big advantage was she has more dragons, and she still does. But they killed the dragon and they killed Jace, so now they've killed 2 dragons and 2 of her sons, and they decimated the Sea Snakes army here, his home base, the whole all the ships and stuff. So I think they definitely won this one by just a nudge.
I think I'm going to go with you there. It's going to cause a lot of infighting on Team Black. The Valerians got decimated. Driftmark got burned. And I don't think that the Triarchy was going to be a long-term asset. So the fact that they suffered heavy losses really doesn't take Team Green down that much. Obviously, if Aegon is captured, maybe that changes the equation a little bit if they have a hostage, but I think it's still Team Black. I assume we have 2 on Team Black here. Who do you think won the episode? Team Black, Team Green?
Can I go with neither?
You go with a draw. You can call it a draw. It's Monty. Holy Grail rules
I
don't
feel
apply
like
here.
nobody wins this one, man. I mean, it was, I don't know. I mean, I know this is a show about, war and, and battle and shit like that, and nobody ever really wins in battle when it comes to, a lot of casualties and people dying and shit like that. So, but at the end of the day, I want to say nobody wins this one, and there really was no victor, and there were casualties on both sides that were pretty enormous, and um, to call it a draw, I don't know if that would do it justice, but I would say nobody won yet.
I think no clear winner is also a very fair take here, but it's it seems at the least like Team Green is in the back of the bus, so to speak. And then we get kind of the characters we just check in with. We don't get much from Aegon 2 in Larry's, but this is one of my more favorite parts of the episode. They're going through the whole bit where they're riding in the back of the Raven cart there. And I'm pretty sure that Larry's didn't accidentally forget to bring Aegon's opium. I'm pretty sure he is trying to force him to detox, but that leads to some pretty funny reactions. When they get captured initially, Larry's just trying to sell the lie. And then as soon as he realizes that Jake is up, he immediately flips and just telling him exactly what's up. And the whole time, Aegon is just flipping out and like shaking. And that's some great acting by him. That was just his like reaction to Larry's telling him exactly who he is and handing over his crown was one of my favorite parts of the episode. Jamie G, did you enjoy what little we saw here from the clubfoot and the very, very burned Aegon II?
Yes. He looked very cool with the burn and the hair all, it almost gave me a little bit of Viserys vibes from, as he was just slowly decaying over a season or so.
Same
but,
hair.
Yeah. So I thought that was cool. And again, not that we want this to be the original Thrones, but I do enjoy the conniving. I do enjoy the playing the game, so to speak. And Laris is one of the characters who really does that well. So it was nice to kind of see that. And I thought this was kind of a funny bit, but also, well played, well acted, everything like that. So I did enjoy this. I hope we get more of this. It did lead questions to, kind of where the territories are and who's on what side. And I hope we get more of that as the season progresses.
Yeah, he seems like a man with a plan, but he is also a dude who is maybe one of the most cutthroat, conniving guys here. I mean, we saw him kill his dad and his brother to gain control of Harrenhal and their family fortune, basically. In here, as soon as the guards buy his story, they ask, oh, what about these other dudes? Like, oh, no, they're not important. And they immediately get killed. Like, this is a dude who will just use you and throw you away. Soup, did you like what we got here from Larry's and Aegon?
Yeah, awesome scene, of course. Very well acted. Pretty much everything you guys said, man. And it's something that, it's a part of this show, and like you said, dating back to Game of Thrones and the deception and the betrayal and everything else is you never know what to expect out of anyone. And I think that's an intriguing part of everything.
It's
Well, every
the
betrayal
road trip
begins with
between
trust.
Littlefinger and Joffrey that we never got, I guess. Feels like they have that kind of vibe.
Baelish Littlefinger, dude. Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
you just put your little fingers in the air. And then we have kind of the main kind of military guys outside of King's Landing. You have Kristen Cole, you have Ormond Hightower. He is new. Kristen Cole, ever since Rook's Rest Soup, he's just kind of done with this, right? He's just there messing with his shield. Like, people are getting raped. Do you think this is just like he's really just kind of checked out? He's convinced he's going to die and he just really doesn't care? Or do you think he's maybe gonna go somewhere with this?
I think the nonchalant vibe is kind of just something that's going to, I think he's going to be more involved. Yes. I think that's just kind of something that's stringing along for now. And um, sooner or later, he's going to end up being, a big part of something, at least that's what I think right now.
Jamie G, I'm old enough to remember like 4 or 5 years ago when Kristen Cole just wanted to run away to Essos with a young Rhaenyra. Where do you think they're going with him, man? Is he just a dude who's kind of resigned to his death, or do you think he's maybe going to kind of step up in some way?
I think he will, but I think he's just realized like the power of the dragon renders a man worthless. Anything you thought you had as a power just isn't really worth anything when you see the power of a dragon. So I think he's just kind of having like a moment where he's just like in deep retrospect of like the fact that like he really nothing really matters because there's dragons. And that's basically it, right? But I do think he will find something will happen. He will get put into a moment. he will likely rise to the occasion, even if it falls upward doing it. But yes, I think there's more to come for him.
I think that's fair. He doesn't seem like a dude who is just going to basically quit, but on the other hand, he does seem like a dude who is pretty resigned to his death. So that's kind of interesting. He's definitely a character that's had some swings. This is fairly keeping in line with what he does in the book, but not perfectly so. So there is a level of unpredictability to it that I enjoy. And then you have Ormond Hightower. He is one of the new additions to the cast this season. We really only get the one scene where he greets the messenger who has the letter that Alicent forged pretending to be Aemond. But I thought the way he reacted was pretty telling, not only with how he just treated the messenger, who was just kind of like a regular dude like us who was just trying to get the job done. Maybe it ended with him covered in piss and shit, but those are kind of the rules of the game. But his reaction when it's like, oh, what, Aegon's dead, Aemon's a king, and he's like, yeah, one king is as good as another. Jamie G, do you think Ormond Hightower could be a major wild card here?
Yeah, I do. He's got a moxie about him. He's got a little bit of a swagger. He also seems like he understands that kings can be controlled, and maybe the power lies kind of like similar to like an Otto Hightower. How much power did Otto really have, right? So it's like I think he's kind of seen that firsthand, and wouldn't totally shock me that he that he emerges as a major player here.
Soup, any thoughts on Ormond Hightower here? He's got an army. He's got Alicent's younger son there with the dragon. Do you think he could kind of be a little bit of a wild card in all this?
I don't see why not. I mean, it seems kind of likely, but the way, it's hard to predict some things like that or anything really in the show. I do think it'll be, I mean, I do think he'll be involved, one way or another for sure, and it'll be impactful. So.
Yeah, he seems like a little bit more of a blunt instrument than Otto. Otto was more of the Tywin Lannister, willing to kind of work with the Ravens and write letters and build alliances and that sort of thing. I get the idea that if it's working for him and he's okay with that, but if need be, he was willing to kind of just go to the sword to get it done. And then we have the dragon seeds. We've talked about them a bit already, kind of there on the Isle of Faces. They're basically supposed to be there for when when Aemon flies to Harrenhal, they can intercept him. That's why they're stationed where they are in the Isle of the Faces, basically in the middle of the God's Eye there. I did not have Alice Rivers showing up on my bingo card. If you remember, she was there with Daemon in Harrenhal last season. So I think this is a bit where we're just kind of checking in on things, but they are setting something up. Jamie G, any thoughts on our guy Ulf here? Like the other two dragon seeds, Adam and Hugh seem, pretty cool with kind of doing whatever Rhaenyra says. But Ulf seems to be thinking for himself a little bit here. Do you think, they're going to go somewhere with that maybe?
Yeah. I think so. I mean, the other guys are kind of really taking it serious here. Ulf is kind of, wouldn't shock me for him to kind of sell out to the highest bidder or something. He's kind of got a little bit of that in him. So I do think something's probably brewing there. And if nothing else, a couple of great one-liners here from him, I expect.
Right. I mean, a horse really doesn't do much for you when you have a dragon. And Soup, any thoughts on the dragon seeds here, especially Ulf? Is there any chance that they're going to kind of want to, maybe step up their standing a little bit faster than Rhaenyra is willing to advance them?
Man, I don't know. It seems like it should, but I feel like patience might be the, kind of like a key element here. So maybe not.
Patience is a virtue in this case, probably. We do not get much from one of our favorites here from Daemon. We do get him finishing off part of Jason Lannister's force, including killing actual lions. I think it was always implied that the Lannisters would go to war with lions, but it was kind of interesting here to see like, oh yeah, they're killing the actual lions. And way back at the beginning of season 2, we were promised the winter wolves. They do not disappoint. They bring in our guy, Tommy Flanagan. He's been in a million things. You might recognize him the most from Sons of Anarchy. He's playing Sir Roderick Dustin here. This is fantastic casting. And I love the concept of the Winter Wolves. The idea here is that it's winter in Westeros, and up in the north, there's just no room for these guys. So when winter comes, if there's not enough stores, basically the old men, the third sons, the four sons, they just leave to go die basically or go do whatever. So they're kind of playing with house money here. I mean, they even say, we came to die for the Dragon Queen. Not we came to serve or fight for the Dragon Queen. We came to die for the Dragon Queen, and then they pull out Jason Lannister's head in a sack. So, Soup, how'd you feel about this one? I know, the Starks always get a little hyped when it comes to Game of Thrones stuff, but I thought this was just an absolutely fantastic introduction of the Winter Wolves.
Yeah, I agree, man. I've been waiting to see, anything from that realm or that part of Westeros, man. Because I've always been a fan of, Starks and the North up there, man. But I mean, House of Dragon is definitely a Targaryen-based show, but I like that they're including some of these other families. I like to see that too, or houses and whatnot. So, but this was cool. But I mean, at the same point, it's weird that things like whether things used to be like that or are like that in Westeros, like. We came to die for like why? Like who would want
Well,
to?
otherwise they would probably just go out in the woods and die. So at least they get to die for something.
Dying with honor. They're
Yeah,
dying with honor. I mean,
There's basically not enough food or shelter for them, so they have to.
we're gonna fight for it.
It's like the old men in the village, like going out in the woods to die. But in this case, they can go fight instead of just dying, which seems better.
Yeah, it's commendable, and I get that, but it still is hard for me to. I'd rather survive. Like if I don't know if it was me, I'd probably rather try to survive than like I'm gonna go die, But hey,
That's the Northern Honor thing, because those dudes could desert the army. They could go go south and live somewhere, but the whole idea is that's who they are, and they would rather die kind of with the Northern ideals, being what we've seen for House Stark, like they keep their word, right? And we saw that with Craig and Stark agreeing with Jace, and that was kind of a nice touch here that it was Jace, even though he dies here, he made the original deal to bring them south. So I thought that was pretty cool. Jamie G, I remember talking about this way back. We watched the season 2 trailer and we saw the first showing of the Starks here. This is really the first payoff years and years later. Do you think the juice is worth the squeeze here?
Yeah, this was an awesome way to introduce them because at first you didn't know if it was going to be enemy or friend here. You didn't know who was coming. You just heard the crackle in the woods. I thought it was an awesome way. What a freaking way to step out. You see the banners. It's like, oh, dude, that's a Stark freaking house banner right there. And then he throws out the head, and obviously Damon's reaction was just absolutely key. But yeah, I thought this was a great way to introduce them, and I think this is awesome. I mean, this was really cool to see this come to fruition. That was one of the quiet wins here for Team Black. So I think it'll pay dividends here down the road.
Could be a major win for us as viewers. We love Damon. I love Tommy Flanagan, and we love the Starks. Like pairing those two together, that could wind up being maybe one of my favorite storylines for plot lines or whatever you want to call it for the upcoming season. So I'm very curious to check on this one. We've also talked about Sheep Stealer a fair amount here. How about the look itself? We've seen, I think all the dragons on Game of Thrones are fairly unique. I think they've done a good job with that. But Sheep Stealer kind of, I think they had to go with the dragon that looks more grown in the wild, basically, like less groomed, less bred to perfection. You get some teeth and the weird kind of neck and looks a little scraggly, but I think it adds to the idea that this is a dragon that's a real wild card, a wild dragon, right, Soup, that could go nuts. Did you like kind of the build up here with Sheep Stealer, the look, and then how it interacted with Rhaena, right down to even like bringing food to Rhaena, a little bit reverse of what we've seen with the dragon people relationship in the past?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this was, it kind of gave me a perspective anyway of like, more of a raw dragon intuition and, just a better look into the way a dragon might think. Not that anybody can ever really know that, but it was a good attempt at that, and it kind of made you think that a little bit and give you that, that line of sight, and I thought that was very cool.
And also probably important to establish that just because you can ride a dragon doesn't mean that you can control the dragon, right? Way back in season 1, Viserys made it very clear, like the real trick is like we make people think we control the dragons, but we really don't. They kind of do, whatever they want when they want. And I think you see that here, it's kind of a little bit like a dog or something, right? If you get them early, a lot of training, you can probably, do a lot to make them answer your commands here. But Sheep Stealer, without any of that, could be pretty wild. And so, Jamie G, this could have an impact, right, on the dragon seeds here. These dragons are more domesticated, but it's not like the riders of them have a lot of flight time here, right? So you could certainly see how this could be an issue going forward if Rhaenyra wants to deploy them, right?
Yeah, because they haven't built the bond that some of these others have built, where they've been riding the dragon for 10, 20 years or something, right? So there's not that bond, there's not the intuition and the command and all that stuff that goes along with it. Sheep Stealer is a total wild card though, because it's willing to attack other dragons on the same side as what the cause that it's supposed to be fighting for. So I think that's a real wild card here, and I just don't know that she's, I don't want to doubt her because I think she'll eventually get it right, but it's a big task to like train a dragon.
For sure, dude. Sorry, but let me interject for just a second. In the dragon's defense, man, when you're acting on pure instinct and, whether or not you're trying to, make a bond with a human or whatever, if you're a dragon or, something in this kind of circumstance where now it's like chaos and battle and shit's made like like that dragon is no difference. He's trying to fucking survive, like straight up survival mode, dude, so can't really blame the dragon.
No, and I don't think you can really blame the rider either. Even if Damon had hopped on Cheap Stealer, I don't know that he necessarily could have like brought it to heel right away. Again, especially this dragon. Why, unless it's born with the knowledge of High Valerian, how is it even going to know the commands you're giving it?
Right. Yeah. So I think it was a mistake to bring it there. Like maybe she shouldn't have. Maybe she shouldn't.
Yeah, she was going to Dragonstone. She saw it,
She
and
was
then she
trying
was
to
like, "All
help,
right,
but
let's go."
probably wasn't a
But
good idea.
ultimately, yeah, probably, sometimes you're sunk by the best of intentions there. So, I mean, maybe you could say the same thing about Alicent. Again, at the end of season 2, she made the grand bargain with Rhaenyra, like, I'll let you back into the city. You can have Aegon, and we'll keep Aemond and Vhagar out of the way, but myself, Helena, and her daughter get to live. Then Alicent comes back and everything is not exactly what she thought it was going to be. Obviously, Aemond being on the throne here. Jamie G, do you like the way they're handling Alicent here? This is a pretty big change from the book. She's making big promises, but is she really going to be able to deliver on them based on what we've seen here?
Well, I do like it because now she's in the middle of this wedge between her family, her sons, her team, and then Team Black, right? And it creates like, will she be, is she playing a game? Is she really trying to do the right thing? It creates some questions around it. So I do really like how they're doing it with her.
I mean, she is on an island, right? She doesn't
Yeah.
really have any true, co-conspirators here. She's basically kind of working against everybody or with somebody on every level. Soup, what did you think about Alicent here? We'll get to the incest of it all in a minute, but do you think she did a good job, at least, of seeing her plan was really in trouble here? Did she do enough to kind of scramble and pull it back together, or is it not going to really be what she promised Rhaenyra at the end of the day?
I'm again, I don't know the answer because I haven't read it, but I feel like it's definitely not going to be the plan. Like anything is never going to play out the way it's supposed to, and it shouldn't. So no, I don't think she's smart enough, really, man. I think she has the intentions of it, but I still don't know what side she's really on. So I mean, you can play the game as much as you want, but I don't know what her end game, her ideal end game is. Yeah, I mean,
I think she's naive enough to think that somehow she's going to get out of this without really anybody she loves getting hurt. Other than Aegon, who obviously is already burned to hell at the point, like his dick is burned off. Like, I guess on some level you could be like, well, he's not going to have the best life going forward. I guess you could, son for a son, that sort of thing. But outside of that, I think, Alicent just has the best of intentions, but she's really blinded because she does legitimately care for all of these people. I mean, I guess that makes her a good person, but Jamie G, this is probably not a world where being a good person is going to really help you in your pursuit for the Iron Throne.
No, but I think it's also a little bit of she saw maybe. I think maybe she knows that what her husband really wanted. I think she kind of maybe knows the truth. And I think she let, Otto get in her head for a long time. But I think she also seen how not prepared and not a good fit her children are for that throne. And I think that's the other part of this too. It's kind of like the world is depending on like a good fit there.
her reaction to seeing Aemond on the throne was, I mean, that pretty much said everything. Like when she walked in right there, and I mean, she was terrified.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sean Olivia Cook, great actress, and she's really on point. She has multiple moments like that she has to play throughout the episode. And I think after that, the interesting part is she's like, all right, to keep this deal with Rhaenyra, there's no Aegon, but I at least have to get Aemon and Vhagar out of the city. So she goes to him and kind of flatters him, right? Butters him up to try to get the job done. And then Aemon winds up kissing her. Jamie G, do you think this was him kind of misinterpreting what Alicent was doing? Or was this just a case of this is something he had wanted to do? They're Targaryens. It's cool. He's into it. And he said, I'm king now. I'm just going to do this. What do you think kind of was the impetus here?
I think it's kind of a little bit of column A and B. I think he definitely has a weird mommy issue. We saw it earlier when he was in the brothel, but I also think that he is like, hey, I'm king. I can have whatever I want. And my father had this as king. I should too. It's a really weird, strange thing that only HBO can do. They do incest like no other network, but it was a little creepy. I love talk about great acting. Allison here was just unbelievable when it happened because you could see her disgust and dismay, but she had to kind of like maintain it. I thought it was really well done.
Great acting. My reaction was the same as hers, just kind of
Yeah.
utter disgust, but
Oh,
she couldn't do anything about it.
right.
Soup, what did you think about this kind of incest point of it all? Is this, I mean, is this Aegon just trying to like, hang dong and assert dominance here? Or has he kind of really been harboring a thing for his mom this whole time?
Again, I also think both are involved there. And I was when it was a slow mover, so I knew this is what's going on right now. So I had that moment of thought where like fucking Targaryens, man, and that's kind of what they are. But at the same point, it's kind of fucked up. So I mean,
That's
but
exactly how I felt because this is not something from the books, and they kept kind of getting closer and closer together. There was that one shot where Allison kind of puts, her hand on his, in the way they kept doing it. I'm like, man, if I didn't know better, I'd say they were going to kiss or something. And then when they actually did it, that was probably the biggest shocker of the episode for me. I'm very curious to see if there is kind of a real impact on the plot because of that. I mean, I remember back in season 2, Mysaria and Rhaenyra kissed. I don't know if that anything will come of that. This is that kind of show. Maybe they just like teasing things and we don't necessarily get there. One other big change from the books was what Jace did here. He locks Rhaenyra away so she cannot go to the battle in the Gullet. He brings Baela with him on Moondancer. They ride off. This is completely different than the books. I don't want to get into the whole thing, but it's a whole different reason that they go, and that basically Rhaenyra then deploys Jace and then all of the wild dragons. She deploys our dragon seeds that we see here, and as well as Sheepstealer, who is written in the books by Nettles, a completely different character. And then basically Jace dies in a similar fashion because he is trying to save somebody, so that's why he goes low. So, I mean, some of that kind of tracks, but to me, I think it kind of denies the legitimacy of Rhaenyra's claim if her Queensguard is so quick to just turn against her, right, Jamie? She even points that out. Like, how is she going to rule if her Queensguard and her son won't back her here? And I think that's got to be a major issue going forward.
It is. I mean, it no doubt is. I mean, it a dangerous proposition, her going into battle. Yeah. I mean, I can understand both sides of it, but yeah, the Queen's like, I think that's borderline mutiny treason, honestly. So it's tough situation for her to deal with.
Yeah, basically misogyny. They wouldn't have done that to a king. And Rhaenyra even kind of points that out at the end of the day. Like, it doesn't really matter, how I act or what I do because I am a woman. People are going to perceive me as such. Soup, did you kind of have any problem here with what Jace did, locking Rhaenyra in the room? Do you think like that was him trying to protect his mother, or him maybe trying to get revenge for his brother and also prove himself? Because he's worried about the perception of him as a bastard or whatever. You think there's a part of him that's maybe if I go out there, I win this battle, that will change people's perception of me? Like, what do you think was going through his head here?
Maybe all of the above, but I do think that ultimately he was probably trying to protect his mother, but he did it the wrong way, dude. That is absolutely fucking mutiny and treason, more treason than anything. And the fucking guard is put in a position where, like, fuck, I'm fucked either way. What am I gonna do? If I were him, I probably would have just never said anything and pretended like, dude, he knocked me out. I didn't know what happened. Because you're in a position now where you can't fucking win. Like, that's the fucking queen. Like overall, her say is everything. I don't care if it's, whatever. So you have to go with what she says, man. That's number one. Go with what number two says. You go with number one. Who does number two work for? Number one.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Just I have the idea of like Sir not Sir Lionel. I'm forgetting his name. It's Sir Lauren, I believe. Like knocking himself out with a coconut, like Monty Python style or something like that, just to get out of this one. I think that could have been a fairly interesting here.
Real quick though, how great was the scene where it's just a close up of the hand and she's peeling the skin off because she just was beating the door and punching the door. Awesome scene here, dude. Really, really, really like that. I thought that was well shot, well done.
I think I would have found a different way out if I were her. I would never be locked in a fucking, that's some Rapunzel shit, dude. If I'm a queen of a thing, I would have another way out.
For a minute, I thought she was going to go out the window or something and try to,
Anything.
Yeah, again, in the book, it's funny because I went back through and I thought there was a specific reason she didn't go to the battle. There's no real specific reason, but she sends 5 dragons, considering there are supposed to be 0 other dragons there. I think you could probably say, all right, that's enough. I've done my job there. Like that would kind of explain her staying behind. Doesn't necessarily track as much in terms of the battle itself. And in the show, they up the stakes. I believe in the book, it's 90 ships the Triarchy has. I believe they say upwards of 350. I know that Shikara Lothar wasn't really like everyone's favorite character, especially given all the mud wrestling stuff here. But I think she really acquitted herself well in this episode. And I have to say, in terms of the name of the ship, especially given the design of the ship with that little kind of ramming thing up front, Soup, can you really beat the Bitch Fist?
Nah, I mean it sounds like something that should be right there next to the Flounder Pounder, but you know, no, it's a great name. Yeah,
And
and
it punches right through Corliss's ship, so it
that was
does
one of
seem
the
like an
better
apt
scenes of
name.
the episode there, dude. Like that was super intense. So I mean, no, I mean everything about I don't know, just so well done. I can't even fucking put words on it, honestly, man. Just that whole everything, and she was great. I mean, she's designed to be like somebody you don't like, but you almost kind of do for a second because you get her shit too. But I don't know, just fucking
Yeah, do
awesome.
you like Lohar here, Jamie G? And obviously, really over the top when she was introduced to us. A character, as someone pointed out, only in 2 episodes of House of the Dragon, but they're like almost 500 days apart. So it was a little tough, probably for some people to kind of remember exactly who she was. Did you like what we got here? Do you think it was, fairly appropriate overall?
I loved it. I thought it was a really great foe that was not just out for coin, but out for vengeance. And she was relentless. She was smart. She was a really good foe here. I thought it worked well.
I would argue she was maybe a little bit overpowered. It was funny to see her give shit to all the Westeros guys, Tywin Lannister especially, about wearing the armor. That did prove to be a thing, but like she just was killing dudes, like just slicing through the armor. Like, why were you wearing armor that can't stop, these swords or whatever? So that was a little bit of a minor complaint there. But for the most part, I liked what they did with her. This is a character who is in the books, but in the books, it's a male admiral who doesn't really have any kind of personal vendetta with the sea snake. I like what they did here. It leads to that chase through the canyons. And Jamie G, was this one of the better kind of low speed chases you've ever seen? Usually for a chase, you want it to be very high speed, high stakes. All this movement here, the main stuff is like measuring how deep the water is and everything, but somehow I found it oddly compelling. Did you enjoy kind of this slow speed chase through the Dragonstone Pass?
I did. It reminded me a little bit of the chase in the Princess Bride, right? Where it was a little bit slow chase here, but no, dude, I definitely enjoyed it. I thought it was really cool scenery being out there in the gullet and in the water there, and those kind of like mountainous ranges and the underwater shots and the old school oars coming out of the side. I thought it was really cool, man. It was well done.
Yeah, I mean, we've been looking for more naval action and that sort of thing. And another kind of point in favor of Lohar here, she advocates for the sacking of Driftmark. And she's like, well, once that Corlys sees like all his treasures burning, he's going to lose his concentration. She was right, Soup, right? When he sees it, he literally stops paying attention. Alan has to take over. He kicks ass, but for the most part, I feel like, Shakara Lohar was right about everything for the most part.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, she had the vision, and she was a fucking badass. Dude. She was slicing people apart. She was like a Ronda Rousey of the ocean battles there, but fucking, she just had that vibe, like that, like gritty fucking. I'm a fucking sea captain. Yeah, like she played it fucking
Good
very
pirate vibe, right? Self-assured badass. I think that's pirate.
And I mean, the chase was great. Good callback to Princess Bride. There were no cliffs of insanity or shrieking eels, but I did get that vibe as well. And I mean, everything about this whole shit was just, was awesome. It was well done. It was, what I was hoping for, and certainly not a disappointment. Definitely very cool and very captivating, and just, you know, every moment was just, there was little things, the big things, all of it came together.
Great Princess Bride reference because I mean, Alan literally goes like, "Oh, you killed my father. Prepare to die." He does the whole Inigo Montoya thing. Basically, when he thinks the sea snake is dead, and JBG, we get two pretty big fight sequences here with Shakara Lohar first against Corlys, and then Alan. I thought they were both really well done, and I like the touch that Alan beat her after taking off his armor. So again, kind of a callback here to her shouting out the armor being more cumbersome than it was worth. Did you think both these fight sequences were well done?
Yeah. I mean, fighting on a boat out in the middle of the ocean, old school pirate style, is just awesome anyway. But they did this great chaos around. You got to read the blur, but they were engaged. I thought it was really cool. Boats cracked in half. All this stuff's going on. I thought they did a great job with this. It was really cool. I know we'll get to it because The Departed's coming up, but I don't know that I really felt like Corlys died there. Maybe it's just me, but I don't know. If he did, it's a super weak death scene.
Yeah, I don't know that him or Tywin Lannister are necessarily gone. Soup, did you like the two fights here we got from Shakara Lohar here first against Corlys, kind of on the deck, Pirates of the Caribbean style, and kind of the dirty one, kind of in the lower decks against Alan?
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was, brutal, fucking bloody. I mean, and hardcore, dude. I mean, that was a good fight. Like, I love watching a good fight like that on screen, and it was, it was definitely what it was supposed to be, man.
Yeah, the fight up top reminded me of kind of the Game of
I mean, think
Thrones
about
fights
think
we
about the
get.
choreography there. You try to put that together. I mean, there's no way they did that in one take, and if they did, holy fuck, like.
No, and I think the choreography against Corlys is probably a little more detailed, like what we would get on Game of Thrones. And then when they went underneath, the fight against Aeon was more like what we saw in A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, right? A little bit more like raw and realistic and animal instinct and just
Where it kind of almost
survival and that
slowed
kind of
down
thing.
for a second to put you in there, like, oh, yeah. It gave you more of the perspective of being right in, like, one of them, Yeah, exactly.
So I think really well done. JBG, did it surprise you at all when Sheep Stealer went rogue? Again, this is not something that is in the book, so I didn't see this coming. So it was certainly a surprise to me, but it kind of wound up with the same outcome. So ultimately, not a huge shock here. But do you like the way they portrayed this?
Yeah, I didn't see it coming either, and it was kind of like, oh wow, because just when you thought the pendulum was swinging and the odds were going to be on the black team's favor here with the dragons coming in, now this actually makes it a weakness for them. So I thought it was really well done. It worked well because it kept kind of the scale going back and forth here of who was going to win, what was going to happen, kind of kept you on the edge of your seat, and I like that. And it's also like going forward, like how is this going to now what with this dragon,
Does this give you any level of confidence that Reyna, at least in a short time period, is going to gain real control over Sheep Stealer?
No, it doesn't. I mean, I think eventually she'll get there. I alluded to that earlier, but I think it's going to take a little bit, man, for her to break them or buck them or tame them or whatever analogy you want to use here.
Yeah, I mean, it could be the horse that couldn't be tamed, though, to a certain degree, because again, wild dragon for years and years and years. It's kind of the thing with, especially like a dog. Like, you pick up an 8-year-old dog from the shelter, that's great, but there's a reason there is an expression that says it's tough to teach an old dog new tricks. So, I wonder, how much progress they can really make with the sheep stealer here overall. So, very interesting. Let's move into The Departed here.
His soul and the souls of all the faithful departed.
What was his name? The Departed.
We have two main characters who died. Obviously, Shikaro Lohor talked about a lot. I think fair death. Didn't quite maybe get the revenge on Corlys if he lives, but otherwise pretty good. But then obviously the death of Jacaerys Valerian, absolute huge death. Soup, he was next in line for the throne behind Rhaenyra here. Also lost Vermax, his dragon. Do you feel this was an appropriate and fitting death, especially considering at the end of season 1, Rhaenyra also lost one of her sons. So this would have theoretically been the end of season 2. So it seems at the end of every season, Rhaenyra has to lose a son. Do you think they, despite it being very tragic, do you think they executed it well?
Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, of course it's tragic and you don't want to see something like that. But that's why the story is what it is, and I mean, from at this point, I don't know how she's going to react. I have no idea. She's probably going to go off the fucking rails. Who wouldn't?
Yeah, we can save that for the speculation, because who knows which way that she will go. Jamie G, do you like the way they handled Jace's death here? It's a little bit kind of quiet and unexpected. Sometimes you build way up to it and this kind of thing, and here it's kind of more matter of fact. It felt fairly realistic for what it was.
Yeah, I thought so, and again, it just makes the stakes even higher, and puts more pressure, more emotion on Rhaenyra here. I mean, losing one son is hard enough. Losing both, when your own family is the one that's killing them, it's just unbearable. So I like it from that standpoint. This could put her on edge. You get shades of Daenerys losing her mind here. There's a lot they could do with this, so I do like it.
And as far as kind of some random stuff that we haven't touched on, I did like the scene from the beginning of the episode where Aemon's about to kill the Maester because Aegon's not there, and then somebody else comes out. It's like, oh yeah, he left. Larry Strong is also gone. Didn't do a lot here, but it does show how impulsive that Aemon can be. And I do think that Alan had a point about Aemon when he says, like, dude, Aemon does not seem like the kind of dude who would just retreat, right? He would rather burn it down than surrender. Do you think that's a fair reading of Aemon, Jamie G?
Yes, I think he would rather have no world than a world where he is not in power. And there's a lot of people like that, and none of them should ever be near power. And that's the sad reality of it.
Soup, I get hung up on random things sometime, and in this case, one thing that bothers me is Corlys's bastard Adam is spelled Adam with 2 D's, Addam, but Alan is spelled Alyn, only 1 N. Do you have any explanation for that? That just bothers me.
Other than that double dose of D for the
dose of pimping,
double dose of pimping. Yeah, no, and all their names are spelled fucking weird and shit. So no, it didn't. I didn't even really think about
except
that.
Jason, Kermit, and Oscar. Those are our random names there. Jamie G, at the end of season 2, it appeared that Tywin Lannister made a really good impression on Shikaro Lohar, and her command to him was, "I want you to fuck all my wives." Do you think he actually had a chance to do that?
I hope so for the guy. I mean, before you get to angry seas out there, it'd be nice to have a little fun. So I hope so for him.
And Jamie G, I know you are just Ask Warrior the Fifth, not an official lawyer, but there's a whole exchange where Lohar basically tells Tywin Lannister, like, do you think I really just sailed across the narrow sea to win your king's war? And Tywin's like, those were the terms of the contract. I mean, you have to empathize with that a little bit, right?
Yeah, look, you sign a contract, you sign the contract. I mean, that's, I don't know bird law, but I do know a thing or two about regular law. And yeah, I mean, yeah, you got to honor your contracts, man.
I don't think any law matters, but honoring the contract, is whatever law it is. It's a breach of contract is a breach of fucking contract.
It's not pirate law, dude. Pirate law is
Pirate
the
law.
exception. Pirate law,
Don't they
bird
have the
law.
parlay and shit though?
And I don't know if they actually stick to it, and I'm not sure bird law incorporates dragons as well.
Not that I would trust pirate law, but if you sign a contract, breach of contract.
Pirate law is old. I'll give it that. There's a lot of
It is
precedent probably set up.
Guys, I think we're ready to get into the award tour for Salton Sea, Fire and Blood. We'll start with the fun stuff and finish with our episode grades. First up, we have our alternate episode titles. Mills, what alternate titles are we awarding to Salton Sea, Fire and Blood?
To me, I just assumed this episode would be called The Gullet. So I think that would have been fine. It goes with the tradition of Game of Thrones, kind of naming episodes after the location of major battles. But as far as other options, I have a couple of fun ones here. We have Dragon Water. That's kind of got a double meaning. Spirit of a King, same thing. The King of Nothing, and Doom in Ruin. So those are the options here. The Gullet, Dragon Water, Spirit of a King, the King of Nothing, Doom and Ruin. Soup, does one of those stick out to you?
I like the King of Nothing because I've kind of I hung on to that for most of the episode, so I'm going to go with that. Although I love Dragon Water too, because that was a really cool, and that makes more sense actually. So that's what I'll go with. Although, if I were to think of something, man, I would really want to tie in an albatross here, because the old albatross is the anchor around the neck, and that's what happened with the dragon at the end too.
The albatross
if
anchor.
you go back to the Rime of the Ancient Mariner and shit, but this isn't the Rime of the Ancient Mariner. This is Fire and Blood.
Jamie G, any preferences here towards an alternate episode title?
The Gullet's really good. I really like the King of Nothing because right now it's kind of all burning down and maybe there is nothing left. So I do kind of like that as well. Doom and Room would also been a good one because shit, man, this was an episode of Doom and Room.
Yeah, I mean, Jace was supposed to be the next true king, right? And he ultimately went to his doom. So he wound up being the King of Nothing, but at least he took a run at it.
Well, we're keeping it simple for the next stop on the award tour. We're honoring our favorite moment or scene from the episode. Soup, make like Mike Glebicki. Send us on our way. Favorite moment or scene.
I'm going with the with Jace's death scene, dude. I mean, just that whole. I mean, I hate that it happened, but it was probably there were a lot of very intense moments here, but that's the one that really was like that was the the topping on to finish off the episode there. So, and just the way it played out, the whole string of events, and the ultimate arrows and the sinking, and it's the one that hit me the hardest out of everything. And there was a lot of hard hitters, but that was the one that I picked as the number one.
It's a good one, man. I like that. I'm going to go ahead and go with the Winter Wolves rolling up on Daemon and presenting him with the head of Jason Lannister. I absolutely love this. I loved how it was shot. You didn't know who was coming. You see the Stark banners. It steps out. He's got the head. Man, how awesome. And then Daemon's reaction. Really cool moment there. I'm going to go with the Winter Wolves.
I am going to just go with that scene of Sheep Stealer feeding Rhaena. That was just so much fun to me. The idea, like, he caught a couple of dragons, didn't digest them. What do you do? Carry them in his mouth or his throat? He kind of hacks them up. He even cooks them for her. That was just such a fun, unexpected scene. I kind of have to go with that. I thought that was a great one.
Perfect bonding scene between human and dragon there, man. Here, I'll cook a sheep and beat it to you. I mean, that was kind of like the gateway, the breach bearer for the two of them.
I mean, if he would have busted out some mint jelly, I would have been really impressed. But I can live without the mint jelly here, I guess.
That's awesome. In honor of the immortal Dylon, it's time to spit some hot fire with our favorite quotes from Salton Sea, Fire and Blood. I'll go up first here, boys. I'm going to go with Rhaenyra here with her classic line.
I may appear to have the weak and feeble body of a woman, but I possess the heart and spirit of a king.
I really believe her. I thought this was such a perfect wording, perfect quote here to kind of summarize really the overarching theme of this episode and really the series in general.
Well, it feels like going forward, Rhaenyra is going to make it pretty sure to, tell people like, treat me like you would treat a king, or else maybe I'll burn you, maybe I'll kill you. Soup, what do you have for a favorite quote here for the season 3 premiere?
I love that. And it was hard not to take that one. And you're right, man. She needs to go full on Oren Ishii at the table with all the other people being like, yo, don't fuck with me or I'll have your fucking head kind of shit. You know, there's a Kill Bill throwback, although we're not talking about that right now. But if I'm going to go for a favorite quote, there are several to choose from, of course. I'm going with Aegon. Aegon's quote about being the king of nothing. And
I'm the king of nothing. With raven shit for a throne and a cripple for a protector. Oh, I'm fucking pathetic.
I get it. And I think that was pretty powerful. And I think that's going to come into play later in the, during the course of the series here.
King of the Raven Shit Throne. I like both of those. They were on my list, but I got to go with my guy Ulf here because, at a certain point, he's not quite full kingpin where we don't have a cow, we have a bull. But if you have a dragon, you really need a horse.
What? You have to be named a lord to get a castle.
What's a knight get then?
A horse.
What do I need with a fucking horse? I've got a dragon.
You'd be Sir Ulf, and men would have to show you respect.
Men would have to show me respect because of the big fucking dragon.
I mean, JBG, Ulf is at least, he's not wrong.
He's definitely not wrong at all. Could not agree more with him.
Yeah, it definitely makes a good point there. That's a good quote. I love that scene. It seemed like a lot of dialogue for me to determine that or to put that in contention for one of my favorite quotes. Although that it definitely was some good, good interaction there, and I'm glad that somebody did bring that up. So thank you for bringing that up because it deserves to be here as well. I mean, and if nothing else, if you want to be that crazy, and if nobody has yet in Westeros, somebody should try to bang a chick on Dragonback in midair.
The Mile High Club. I mean,
Mile High. Come on.
At least half a mile high.
Well, I mean, on his fucking dragon.
Yeah, I don't know how high they can go, so
doesn't matter. But
that seems like something,
Yeah, you might have to be tied down in there. You need a good saddle, I think. There, you don't want anybody falling off
or some shit. But
yeah.
Yeah, raw dog. I mean, that's another thing, man.
Yeah, they dragon-based sex swing.
Riding the sheep stealer, man. There was no, she had nothing. She was hanging onto the dragon. That's a little sketchy anyway, man. So, that was doomed from the beginning, and I kind of knew it the whole way. I knew something was going to come out of that, but I didn't think it was, whatever. It is what it is, man. And the story moves forward.
Yeah, Rhaenyra's got a whole outfit, much less not just the saddle. Like, really, you need the, not only the saddle, the outfit, the gloves. You need the whole.
I'm thinking about even riding a fucking horse, dude. You don't just bareback those motherfuckers. I mean, you can, but I mean, even a professional horse or anybody back in the day in Red Dead, you don't just jump on a horse. Well, you can. Whatever. You're better off with a fucking saddle and some spurs or some shit.
Oh, just go fishing and enjoy Red Dead Redemption 2.
Well, next up on the award tour, we have the Hot D Hierarchy, our House of the Dragon power rankings. We've each ranked our top 5 characters from the episode, with number 1 being our episode MVP. We're going to start at 5, work our way up to 1. Mills, walk us through it.
All right. I think the way to go here is we will each give our 5 through 2. So everyone from our number 5 guy to our number 2 guy, runner up for MVP, and then we'll go through, give our MVP. So I will lead us off here. At number 5, I am going with Sheep Stealer. Total wild card here, man. This is a new dragon. I mean, we know we saw him a little bit at the end of season 2, but man, adds a lot to the plate here. Very fun. It could make some crazy shit happen as far as the story. At number 4, going with Shakara Lohar here. She was very fun. Had a great episode. 2 good fights. Very good tactically. Seemed very smart. So very much enjoying her. At number 3, I got to go with our guy, Sir Roderick Dunstan. Tommy Flanagan coming in as the head of the Winter Wolves for the North. Only gets the one scene, but man, this dude is just here to fight and die, and I am here for that. And then at number 2, my runner-up for MVP, I'm going to go with Alan of Hull. Had the nice scene with Corlys, took over after he kind of weirded out when he saw the burning of Driftmark, and then also wind up getting the kill on Shakara Lohar here. So that's my 5 through 2. Sheep Stealer, Shakara Lohar, Sir Roderick Dunstan, and Alan of Hull. Jamie G, who do you have 5 through 2?
Yeah, good call on Sheep Stealer, man. I really that was my honorable mention here. Number 5 for me, I'm going with Aemon One Eye, Aemon Targaryen. Just his presence alone here There's something scary and wrong with him, and it's uneasy to be around. He's doing a really good job here. I thought just seeing him on the throne was like, ooh man, this is dark days here in Westeros with him on the throne. So definitely got an awesome presence there. Thought that was really cool. And then I'm gonna go with Daemon Targaryen as my number 4. Talk about a presence. This dude's just awesome. He didn't get a lot in this one, but what he got was super awesome. Just absolutely destroying people on the battlefield. Couple of great lines. Just kind of my guy all the way through. Really love Damon here. So putting him at 4. I'm going to put Corlys Valerian at 3. You definitely get a bunch of good stuff with him. Obviously, the drinking scene with Alan was awesome. Just him in command of this fleet and on the water, kind of seeing him in action was really cool. And then at number 2, I'm going to put Shakara Lahore. She was awesome. We talked about her earlier here. I just thought she was such a great foe here and really played it well. So those are my 5 through 2. Soup?
Well, shit, man. I mean, it's hard to disagree with any of those. And I wish I would have put a dragon in here, and Sheep Stealer would have been the one to put in here, but I didn't. Instead, I went number 5 with the rider of Sheep Stealer, man. I don't know. Rhaena, man, she fucked up real bad in this episode, and I'm sure there's going to be repercussions and whatnot. But it was also a major part of things to come, and I think she played the role really well. And it was not easy for her to do what she did. Anyway, I think she had a very, very good fucking. I don't know. It was just a good character, a good, just well played, and maybe not the smartest thing in the world, but it was impactful. So I'm giving her number 5. And number 4, I'm going with Rhaenyra, because I think that she was kind of locked in the walk-in there, and I don't know what's going to happen out of that, but she made some pretty. I think she came to a lot of realization, and when she finds out what really happened, she's gonna fucking lose it. And at this point, I can only wait to see what her reaction is going to be, because it is what it is now. So I'm giving her number 4. Number 3, I'm giving to Jace, because I really think that he had nothing but good intentions, and his heart was in it. And it sucks that he went down the way he did, but he's getting number 3. And number 2 is Damon, just because he's fucking awesome and his presence is amazing. And we didn't get a lot out of him, as he said, this episode, but we will, I'm sure. So what we did get out of him was worth a number 2 on this one.
Nice. So I think we're probably going to have some different options here at number 1. Not only because he died, but because of the way he died. I am going to go with Jace as my number 1. He died trying to do the right thing. Yes, he locked his mom in a room, but for the most part, I think he was trying to protect her. He was trying to prove himself. He was trying to use his dragon. At the end of the day, he was trying to save his betrothed in Baeliver. I think he had the best of intentions. I can never go with him again, so I am going to go ahead. Go with Jacaerys Valerian at number 1. Jamie G, who do you have at number 1?
I gotta go with Alan here. I just thought he played the part so well, spoke his mind in a respectful way to his father, Corlys. Felt like they were in the midst of kind of like moving on from it. But then he really showed how much he cared, kind of when he stepped up when he thought Corlys might have died there, and ended up kind of taking out Shakara Lahore here. So I thought he was awesome, man. I got to give it up for Alan.
Soup, how about yourself? Who do you have at number 1?
Good fucking call, dude. And I almost feel bad now that I didn't go with him, because this really was. He should be, the number 1, or at least in the running. I didn't even put him in my rankings. Now I feel like an asshole about it, but he was that important. And, his character development, this episode was his episode, so.
For sure.
But it is what it is, and here's where I'm at. And I'm giving it to the sea snake himself on this one, man, because you finally got to see him like really do what he does. And I think he was, he really showed it, and he deserves to be in the running, or I'm giving him number 1. Yeah.
Fair enough. I think all those top options are deserving. Jacaerys, Alan of Hull, and Corlys. If we are going to average them together, I think at number 5 we'd have Aemond. At number 2 we've had Daemon. At number 3 we'd have Jace. At number 2 we've had Corlys, and then at number 1 Alan of Hull, really making a come up here from his bastard status. So we like that.
I love that. I love the whatever that was. The what do you call it?
The hierarchy.
Whatever.
Well, it is the end of the award tour, so it's time to hand out our episode grades. And on Flagons and Dragons, we grade everything by handing out flagons of ale. Mills, on a scale of 0 to 100 flagons, what is your grade for the gullet?
This was a tough one for me. I think this is just slightly below Rook's Rest because I think that was a little bit more faithful to Fire and Blood. And I think it was perfectly done here. I agree with most everything they did. I have a couple quibbles. I think it's a little bit better than the Red Sowing. So that leaves me at 96 Flagons of Ale. Pretty high. Soup, what are you going with here as an episode grade? 0 to 100 Flagons of Ale. How many do you have here for the season 3 premiere?
99 flagons of rice on the wall. I'm staying right with you on a 96, dude. I really enjoyed this episode as a Kickstarter for the season. I don't really think anything was done wrong. I could nitpick about things. I didn't really like the dialogue with commanding the dragons. I thought that was a little bit cheesy with just a simple, but maybe that's what I don't know. And there was a couple other things I have questions on, but that's super nitpicking. Overall, this fucking episode is what it should have been. They came out swinging. They brought it. It's a 96.
Jamie G, how about yourself? We're getting a triplet patch here. Are you slightly above or below us?
You guys really want to make me come up on this a little bit. I'm at 94 Flagons of Ale. I thought this was a phenomenal episode of television. There's really nothing wrong with it. I think it's totally great. And yeah, I'm at 94 Flagons of Ale. I'm a little judicious with my ale because I like to drink a lot, but I'm giving it 94 Flagons.
Bought for the price of a flagon of rice, dude.
That's right in line with where you were last season. Definitely on the Red Dragon and the Gold, the Rook's Rest episode, and the Red Sowing. You were at 95, 96 on those. So it seems like this, agrees with you in terms of being a high end episode of House of the Dragon. So we're excited about our grades here. I think it graded up very, very well.
Do you think this is one of the better episodes of the entire series? Because how could it not be? Like, it's got to be up there in the top fucking 2 or 3, right?
Yeah, I'd say top 3.
Yep, I would too.
Oh, smoke on the water, fire in the sky, dude. I mean, same exact song as Cat Scratch Fever.
Smoke, it's a little Deep Purple, dude. We got it.
Yeah, they wrote that song about Frank Zappa's house being burned down. So anyway, whatever. Smoke on the water, fire in the sky, dragons in the water. No, sharks in the water, dragons in the sky. We need a bigger boat.
There's a large metal dragon.
And golf shoes to walk through the smoke.
Yes. The award tour ends at Speculation Station, where we give our predictions, theories, and all that good stuff.
We do not know the title of season 3, episode 2. We do know that Claire Kilner will be directing. She will be directing episodes 2, 3, and 4 of season 3. Sarah Hess is the credited writer here. She will also be writing season 3, episode 3. And Jamie G, we saw it here. Will another main cast member die in episode 2? Or are they going to give us a little bit of a reprieve here?
Yeah, man. I mean, could this be one where another one bites the dust? I think we'll probably get a little bit of a reprieve here. I think there is going to be a response, but I don't know that we'll be able to draw blood just yet. So I'm going to say we're going to get a little bit of a reprieve.
So what do you think? We're getting another main character death in the next episode, or are they going to space them out a little bit here?
You know what, man? I don't know if there's a question of what I would like to see or what I think is going to happen. But I guess if you mix the two together and stir it up, I'm going with they need to keep their foot on the fucking gas here. Bring it. Do another one, man. I wouldn't put it past.
It's a big cast. I mean, they can afford to more than most shows. I mean, there's a lot of people in this cast. And JBG,
I pump the brakes at this point, man. I mean, keep going.
All gas, no brakes is probably the way they should go here. And JBG, what do you think here? Based on what Allison has seen, do you think she can actually keep up her bargain to Rhaenyra? Or is Rhaenyra going to be in for a little bit of a rude awakening if she tries to actually, continue with her takeover at King's Landing?
Yeah. I mean, I think she might be in a little bit of a rude awakening here. I think it might not be as easy as she hopes.
Soup, other side of that coin, how will Rhaenyra handle Jace's death here? Like, is she going to be more gung ho to take over King's Landing, or could she just want to like go in bed and eat ice cream and not deal with any of this?
I doubt that'll happen. I think she is going to go absolute batshit, but I just hope she plays it smart. I couldn't even imagine trying to be in that position and trying to figure something like this out, but being intelligent about it and not letting your emotions really take hold is probably key, but it's going to be, I would think, impossible not to. Either way, she's going to go fucking nuts over this.
I think she kind of has to. Jamie G, what do you think Rhaenyra's reaction to Rhaena is when she finds out that Rhaena brought a wild dragon into the fight, ultimately caused the death of her son? Like, is she going to find room for forgiveness here, or is she going to be really, really, really pissed?
I think she's going to be extremely pissed and extremely emotional. I don't know that she will point the finger inward. I think she will point it directly outward, and I think she will feel frustrated knowing that she should have went. I don't know that she'll look for somebody to blame on her own team, though. Maybe she will, but I'm not so sure of that yet.
I will say this: if we didn't know it was a Mad King, I would say this would be the making of a Mad King.
Still could be, I guess. I mean, Rhaena is Damon's daughter. Soup, do you think this could create conflict between Damon and Rhaenyra again here? If, Rhaenyra is basically pissed at her for causing the death of her son, whereas Damon's like, yo, you need to back off. Like, this is still, my daughter.
That's if she blames it on her, and she might not. I don't know. I don't know if that would be the play. I think that would be her not being smart about it. That would be her acting on emotion.
Fair enough. How about the Winter Wolves, Soup? Do you think they're ultimately going to have a major impact on the story, or are they just going to kind of show up, have a couple cool moments, and then kind of be a little bit of cannon fodder?
I feel like it'll probably be the latter on that one, although I would like to see it more and have more of a major impact. So, I think they'll be involved more. Whether the level of that involvement, I don't think it's going to go super high, but I wouldn't be against it if it did.
Jamie G, what do you think about the Winter Wolves here? Are they going to have a major impact on the story, or they're just going to kind of be a little bit of a supporting force?
They're awesome, and I want them to be a major role. I don't know that they will have more of a role than any of the other ancillary pieces, but I think what we get out of them, the juice will be worth the squeeze.
Fair enough. Fair enough. How about this Sea Snake here? He's had a lot of his fleet smashed. We saw Driftmark get burned. We do see, if you watch the rest of the season trailer, he washes up on shore. So I'm assuming that kind of he's alive. Where do you think he goes from here, man? If his health is basically smashed, is he trying to rebuild Driftmark? Is he going to lean further into his relationship with his bastard sons? Like, where do you think the Sea Snake goes from here?
Well, I think the sea snake really tries to figure out his situation here because the last thing he saw before going into that battle was his home burning, right, and under siege. He just lost half of his army. His ship is destroyed. He did bond with his son Alan, who proved himself once again that he's critical in the moment. I think he leans on family, and I think he leans on getting even, getting vengeance here.
What do you think, Soup? If the Sea Snake survives, you think he is going to kind of focus on rebuilding his own house? You think he's going to be mad at Rhaenyra for costing him his seat? Like, what do you think the reaction is here?
I don't know if that'll be. I mean, he's been through a lot, dude. Like, think about what happened at the end of last season and until now. So he's had some losses, and now, I think his only saving grace is that his son there has really come up huge, and his other one might too. So I think Jamie G's right that he might lean into family and try to just keep on keeping on and fucking win this war.
Best bastards ever. I mean, like, he definitely seems like he has some very high quality bastards, a little bit more so
High
than we
quality
have traditionally
bastards. Now,
seen
isn't that a great album name?
That is a great album name. I mean, I was assuming you were going to tell me it's already something like Frank Zappa did or something like that.
It should be.
JBG, I don't know where in the world Carmen Sandiego is, but how about Otto Hightower? We have 7 episodes left in season 3. Jamie G, what episode are we first seeing Otto Hightower? Somewhere, let's assume we see him this season, somewhere between season 3, episode 2, season 3, episode 8. When are we seeing Otto Hightower?
Season 3, episode 6.
Ooh, dragging it out. A lot of edging there. Soup, what do you think? When are we seeing Otto?
I'm going to go a little bit sooner than that and say like episode 3, maybe 4.
Yeah, all right, I'll go 5. I was gonna go 4 or 5. You said 3 or 4, so I'll go 5. I'll do a nice solid hard 5 here.
6. Okay, or we could let's do 4, 5, and 6. Fuck it, 4, 5, and 6. That's what I like that.
Little baby straight. We like that. So I think we would all enjoy seeing Otto again. Obviously, recent Eye fans, great actor. Kind of a weird thing here in the books. He never really leaves King's Landing, so I have no idea where they're going with this. We had last seen him in a major role in the 2nd episode of season 2, and then just get a glimpse of him at the end of season 2 in episode 8 there. So a lot of interesting ways they can go with Otto Hightower here. I'm kind of hoping they make a major departure from the books here and keep him in the mix. I think that could be very cool.
Thanks again for joining us on our journey through Westeros. We'll be covering every episode of season 3. And if you'd like to continue this journey with us, don't forget those flaps. Follow, like, and please subscribe. Mills will remind you where you can find us. And we hope to see you again next time with a flagon full of ale.
Keep those flagons full. Once again, this has been Flagons and Dragons presented by Regular Dudes Watch Stuff. Find us wherever you get your pods, on the Spotify, on the Apple Podcast, all the good ones. Our videos are on YouTube. We're on social media at Dudes Watch Stuff and on the web at dudeswatchstuff.com. That's it. We hope you had a good time. We hope you will join us next week. I am Magna Mills with Jamie G and the Soup Deucer. God damn, it's good to be back in Westeros.
Once again, until next time, man, keep your flagons full and fire.